The following is rated not safe for work. It contains strong language, adult situations, and lots of spoilers. Discretion is advised.
In the criminal justice system, cinematic-based offenses are considered especially heinous. The dedicated attorneys who investigate these villainous films are members of an elite squad known as the Reels of Justice. These are their stories.
Order, please, order. The Reels of Justice is now in session. Judge Dylan J. Schlender presiding. Your eyes for the Honorable Judge Schlender.
Be seated. Welcome to the Reels of Justice. Today we are hearing the case of the People versus Freddy Got Fingered, a 2001 comedy about an aspiring cartoonist that moves back into his parents' house and proceeds to make their lives miserable in many ways. For those of you unfamiliar with our court proceedings, we are here to determine if this film is guilty of being a bad movie. As always in this courtroom, films are to be considered excellent until proven awful, and the burden of proof lies upon the prosecution to prove beyond a shadow of a reasonable doubt that this film is guilty. Mr. Maynard Bangs, you are representing the prosecution. You may present your opening statement.
Your Honor, distinguished members of the court, it was the 4th month in the year of our Lord 2001. America was still reeling from the sudden and abrupt elimination of Jerry Manthe from the 2nd season of Survivor. Angel by Shaggy, featuring Rayvon, was on top of the charts with no signs of relenting. And the world still held a tinge of innocence for those lucky enough to be called young. And yours truly, a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed rapscallion at the plucky age of 13, was sitting down at Duplex Movie House with a group of likewise tender-age friends to view Tom Green's first and ultimately last directorial feature-length effort, Freddy Got Fingered. The secret to how 4 13-year-old boys could gain admittance to a film bolstering an R rating is one purely within the realm of impertinent youth. But what's important is we got in, and we were practically abuzz with excitement. For you see, me and my friends and I, we were all tremendous devotees of MTV's The Tom Green Show. Maybe to an extent, it might be apt to say we idolized Tom Green. His irreverent, disgusting brand of comedy, largely centered on making a public spectacle of oneself at the expense of those around you, spoke to the rebellious adolescent spirits within all of us in a way mainstream media never had. So, an entire Tom Green movie? That was just what our little 13-year-old hearts desired. I don't know if it was watching a grown man pantomime the breaststroke on a dry back road blacktop, bedecked in the still bleeding carcass of a recently deceased woodland animal, or if it was the horse hand job. But little by little, during the course of the film, we stopped laughing. And we sat there, half mortified, the last 4 denizens of the once sparsely occupied theater, our former compatriots compelled to leave the showing prematurely. Something in us changed. Maybe the appropriate term would be broke. Something within us broke. And as I watched Jim Brody, the paternal character portrayed by Rip Torn, the man who once portrayed Judas Iscariot in 1961's King of Kings, Rip Torn, a one-time Academy Award nominee, get hosed by a geyser of faux elephant semen, I felt my childhood end. A certain glimmer in my eye slowly faded, never again to be rekindled. I walked into that theater a boy. I walked out of it the twisted shell of a thing you see before you today. And walk out we did. Even we 4 juvenile delinquents who considered dick and fart jokes the very height of humorous aspirations. We got up and we walked out, leaving the last few minutes of Freddy Got Fingered to unfold to a completely empty cinema, full of all of its supporters. For many, they marked the atrocities of the World Trade Center attack as the end of their innocence. But not me, for I had that pride out of me several months earlier, on a dull and particularly chilly April morn. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bangs. Appearing on behalf of the defense is Mr. Leroy Patterson. Please present your opening statement.
Daddy, would you like some sausages? Daddy, would you like some sausages? That is what this punk rock anthem of a film would say if it could speak. And while a copy is sitting here right next to me, it is not on mic and it would not be heard. It can hear everything that is being said, though, so keep that in mind over the course of this trial. In closing, I've got my fingers crossed, that justice for this film's awesomeness will be seen. That is my opening statement.
All right, thank you. Mr. Bangs, you may proceed with your first exhibit.
Your Honor, I could talk a lot about the things this film does in bad taste. I could talk about the scene where Tom Green delivers a women's baby despite her screaming protests in a hospital room, then, biting its umbilical cord in half, spins the newborn around his head like a flail. I could talk about the numerous time-wasting segments where he ties sausages to his fingers and sings, or when he wears a dead deer carcass like a coat and dances, or when he puts a suit on backwards and sings and dances. I could talk about him, again, grabbing a horse's cock with his bare hands, quite without the horse's consent, I believe, and wiggling it around.
Objection. We can't possibly know. That was a stunt horse. The horse knew what it was signing up for. Please, let's not get into that already.
Was there an intimacy coordinator on set? Do we know?
I'm not sure. Tom Green apparently has insisted it was fake, but a lot of other people from the set insisted it's not. And based on the footage, it sure looks real. Anyway, I don't want to talk about horse rape for long, although it was perpetrated in this film. But I have other exhibits.
Okay.
The jury saw this movie. They know all the ridiculous, disgusting, absurd things that happen throughout it. Hack film critic extraordinaire Roger Ebert called it a vomitorium consisting of 93 minutes of Tom Green doing things that a geek in a carnival sideshow would turn down. I could point these things out all day, and I'm quite confident the defender here would smile, cross his arms, and agree with me. And he'd say, all those disgusting things, they're supposed to be disgusting. All those stupid, pointless things that end up going nowhere, they're supposed to be stupid and pointless and go nowhere. That's the point. I've heard all the talking points. In a 2021 review of the film, Daniel Scully says the value of Freddy Got Fingered is that against all business logic, against all conceivable social moray, and against hordes of criticism, stating that a film like this is beyond the pale, it exists all the same. And in another 20 years, it'll be just as powerful in its ability to say, fuck you, that's why. In a 2021 interview, Tom Green himself said, there's definitely a desire to give the middle finger to the standard cookie-cutter movie. In that same exchange, interviewer Matthew Lipman says, people that loved the movie view it as a punk rock experience, a fuck you kind of thing. But who exactly is Green saying fuck you to here? The industry which gave him a platform and paid him well to do some of the most outlandish things in television history? The industry that allowed him, some scrawny Canadian loser from basic cable, to achieve enough acclaim that he got to have sex with and then eventually marry Drew fucking Barrymore? The industry that made him and his, thankfully, eventual ex-wife Drew wealthy beyond his wildest dreams, though given Tom has since pissed a lot of that away and is happily living in a van down by the river. Is that it? Fuck you for making me rich and famous enough to fuck Drew Barrymore? Fuck you, Hollywood. You really suck. Did I mention you put me in a position to fuck Drew fucking Barrymore? Boo, Hollywood.
Defense, do you have a response to this Tom Green saying fuck you to Hollywood?
I most certainly do. You see, punk rock doesn't sell out. That's it. That's the thing here. By definition, punk rock should not sell out. You give Tom Green $14 million to make a feature film, and you act shocked that he consently, however you want to phrase it, played with a horse and an elephant and a myriad of other animals. You consented to allowing him. There's checks and balances here, right? In the film industry. And somehow, through sheer perseverance, Tom Green broke past all that. Tom Green, who you know as a fan, and I'm sure the rest of the jury here are fans as well, know the lengths that this man goes to make you smile. The lengths that this man goes to get you to laugh. And we all need laughter every now and then. And in a world that he helped create, he arguably was one of the forefathers of the gross out comedy. He has been doing this for years previously. And then you have movies like There's Something About Mary and Joe Dirt, all these other films that were coming out in 2001. You had Joe Dirt, Zoolander, Rat Race, Out Cold, a lot of these gross out comedies. Tom Green, being one of the originators of that genre, had to stand out. He had to take what he was known for and blow it up on the big screen. We're looking at a huge movie screen here, folks. You can't do the same thing over and over again. You got to take it to the next level, and that's what this man did.
Well, I mean, you can't do same things over and over again, except for repeat the same lines over and over in a slightly higher pitched voice every time until people just start nervously laughing, which is a lot of Green's comedy style. As far as punk rock don't sell out, Tom, you had a show on MTV. Your show was sponsored by ads and commercials. You sold out, like you did, so I mean, I don't see Tom Green as being as punk rock as you think. For me, the fun of the Tom Green show is that it was a candid camera kind of show. Tom would do something gross or outlandish out in public, and you'd laugh at people's baffled reactions more than Tom's stupid antics themselves. But that was okay because you were in on the joke at home. It was like an inside joke between you and Tom. These randos, they think Tom's nuts, but you at home, you know it's all a prank. You were inside. You and Tom were friends, and his victims, they were the other. You were really laughing at them, at the spectators. But in Freddy Got Fingered, everyone on the screen is an actor. They behave the way the script calls for. They react to Tom's behavior the way the director tells them to. So the stunts really lose a lot of their teeth. The bystanders aren't shocked or horrified. Not really. They're just acting. They're on the inside too. So now it's just Tom standing on a conveyor belt waving a sausage around, incessantly repeating phrases over and over. And you know that he's doing that take after take repeatedly, and they're just editing the best takes together.
Well, thank you for explaining how films work. I greatly appreciate the history of how multiple shots are edited together.
And it's quite different from candid camera shows, though.
Very true. However, was he making this movie for the actors there? No. Was he making it for himself as a director? Probably not. He was making it for you to watch alongside people who brought their children. People who have never seen a Tom Green film, just wanted to get out of the heat. Those people are the new targets. The people who unknowingly went in to view this film are the new marks. They are the people who are like, what is this? I need to leave. Oh my God. And then you as an audience member who is in on the joke, you're one of the people that's like winking along with Tom, like, this is a joke. You know where this is going. You are to watch the people in the audience lose it and freak out and leave. They are the new people on the street. You see, let's take a little time travel session. Let's hop on a time machine and go back to the days of Andy Kaufman. You spoke about he had a show on MTV, he sold out. Andy Kaufman went on Taxi. Only, though, to then take his new fame and new opportunities and use it to unleash the insanity that he is truly known for onto the crowd. The stuff that he finds funny. This was his special. This was his time to take all of that BS and all that corporate butt kissing and commercial times and explode it onto a movie screen to an unsuspecting audience. And you got to watch that. You're welcome.
Now, I do agree. Tom is a prankster, right? And so I agree with you. The joke here is on someone. And if it's not the bystanders, who is it? Well, there's a couple of ideas. In 2007, critic Nathan Rabin, he wrote that Freddy Got Fingered is less a conventional comedy than a $15 million prank at the studio's expense. And I know you mentioned the money before, so this is just a little side thing. It was $14 million to make Freddy Got Fingered. Just to put that in context, in 2001 and 2001 movies, Memento was made for $9 million. Ghost World was made for $7 million. Hedwig and the Angry Inch, $6 million. Shadow of a Vampire, $8 million. Donnie Darko, 4.5 mil. Monsters Ball, 4 mil. Requiem for a Dream, 4.5 mil. So we could have made Donnie Darko, Monsters Ball, and Requiem for a Dream all for what it cost to make Freddy Got Fingered. So just think about that and what you saw on the screen and ask yourself exactly how much blow could Tom Green have done on set where all that money disappeared to. And to speak in Ryan's terms, Mulholland Drive was $15 million. So there's that. Hell, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was $17 million, and that had tons of costumes and set pieces. So
Did it have an ejaculating elephant?
First, I'm almost. That's got that. I was pretty sure that's a prosthetic elephant penis. I'm sure hoping so. I think the horse I believe is real, but the elephant I think is not because it shot tapioca. Luckily he didn't. Do. I see this movie has misled you to think that's what elephants do, but it's not true. Anyway, so who exactly are you pranking, Tom? The people who gave you $15 million to obviously put just about whatever the fuck you wanted on a screen for an hour and a half. Carte blanche. Hell, you're one of the reasons studios don't give filmmakers carte blanche anymore. Congratulations, Tom. You used up what little goodwill Hollywood had left towards creatives just to purposely make an unlikable movie to prove that Hollywood has no goodwill towards creatives. Somebody cued the clip of DJ Khaled saying, "Congratulations, you played yourself." And Freddy Got Fingered, it basically made its budget back. All right, it didn't really lose money. It made its budget back. It broke even. It made $14 million. So the studio didn't lose money. You didn't put up a big middle finger to the studio. You wasted a lot of their time, but didn't actually lose any money. So who did lose money? Besides Tom Green, I mean. The audience. The paying patrons of the cinema across the country, a majority of who did walk out during this movie, who expected a movie, oh no, to have a plot. Who expected a movie to develop its characters through narrative and dialogue. That's who this film is really a prank on. The stupid suckers who shell out good money and sit there hoping to be entertained. How dare you, you lame, simple-minded movie-going fuck. How dare you look to film to inspire joy, or awe, or sadness, or fear. How lame is it of you to expect movies to do anything? Don't you know movies are stupid? And with that, the prosecution will rest.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Maynard. Mr. Patterson, you can present anything you would like for your case.
As a matter of fact, I would. You see, towards the end of the film, there is a scene where Tom Green is speaking with the foreman who is currently cutting up his parents' house so that they could ship part of it, mostly his parents' bedroom, to Pakistan. Right? Hilarious scene. In that scene, he explains exactly what happened when the studio gave him $14 million. In this case, they gave Gord $1 million to make a cartoon. He then, instead of using that to maybe hire more animators or anything, he did the most punk rock, crazy thing to make himself laugh. And that is enough for me. He sent his father, because of a throwaway line earlier in there about sewing soccer balls together, sent him to Pakistan just to jerk off an elephant onto him and then have a fight. And you know what? They bonded over that. You say there's no story. There's a story. It is a man trying to get his father to respect him. Something I kind of know a little bit about, something, you probably know a great deal about. Our fathers, our parents, are people we want to, in most cases, want to make happy. And Gord, he is trying to do what he loves and make his parents happy. And by the end of this film, it may have gone in a lot of crazy different ways, but it happened in the most beautiful way possible. And to say that there's no plot, well, there you're wrong. So that one's out. And two, the audience, there's the squares, there's the people who aren't going to get this, much like anything great in this world. The common person is going to be like, ugh, I don't get it. This is dumb. I'm out. But us true visionaries see what this man has done. He explained it in that scene. He got $1 million. He bought some rubies. He sent his father to Pakistan, and the money's gone. Easy come, easy go. Here, he makes a film where he gets to do some of the dumbest, craziest stuff. He gets to beat a girl's legs with a bamboo pole just for humor. Just because no other film would do it, and no other film has done it. Which is why I believe that this film deserves to be respected for the awesome punk rock show of defiance that it truly is.
See, I think Betty is I'd like to make an objection because I think, Betty is the missed opportunity of this movie because she's probably the most interesting character. I don't know if paraplegics like to have their legs beaten with a cane. I was too scared to Google it. Framing an individual like that to be the love interest is I think something that wasn't done a lot, and that's to me the punk rock thing this movie could have done, was casting someone like that in that type of role. But Betty barely gets any time. Most of the time is just on blowjob jokes, and it's a half-hearted cheat to say she inspires him. I mean, we never, one day she just does it. The rockets are done and she figures them out, and so we don't really get to see her progression. She just suddenly goes from not working to working, which is a similar switch that Gordy goes on to. It's just he can't think of any ideas. He can't draw well. He doesn't have any idea. And then suddenly he takes inspiration logically from the world around him. And suddenly it all just works out. It's more of a switch than a journey.
I have a question from the bench for either of you. You've both used the term punk rock to describe this movie. Can we get a working definition of what you mean when you say this movie's punk rock? Either one of you, whether you agree or disagree.
I could go first with this one.
Sure.
I truly believe so. Punk rock, in this term at least, is used to describe something that goes against the grain, something that goes against the establishment, and it may not settle well with the squares, but it is shouting, it is loud, and it finds its audience, and that audience appreciates it wholeheartedly.
I'd like to add a special type of rock or stone designed to be kept as a pet and cared for.
Mr. Mayor, that would be a pet rock. I'm talking about punk rock.
Shit.
I was talking about, my definition was for pet rock too. I'm sorry.
Then
okay.
Possibly a pet rock with a mohawk. Then
spike collar.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Patterson, would you like to continue with your next exhibit?
Yes, I would. You see, you yourself, and I'm sure much of the jury here, possibly the judge as well, we're a fan of Tom Green.
The judge isn't.
Hey, order in my court.
It is understood that he is an acquired taste. However, he is a taste, and a delicious one at that, if you can stomach it. And what was seen in the movie is just a exaggerated version of what we saw on his show. The show version, though, was real, was legit, which calls into question your assumption, your belief that you were disgusted by what you've seen. So you're okay with it happening for real, but when it's done in a mock film setting, it's no longer okay. I'm
saying disgusted from an intellectual level. I mean, nobody's going to say that dancing around in a carcass is not disgusting. It doesn't actually make me sick, but it's septically in bad taste.
Says you. However, since we're talking about critics here, the Variety Radio said that it was a hilarious and the most original comedy of the year. And I would take that a step further and say that it's most likely the most original comedy of the decade.
Well, do you lick bones protruding out of your friend's legs regularly?
I've been in that situation, and
would you?
Yes,
you would. I bring you your friend. I break his leg and out of his leg, and you're gonna lick it.
if there's a camera present and it is funny in the situation, yes.
As Owen Hart would say.
But then again, I am a man that has been covered in his own blood on multiple occasions, so I may not be the best person for that exact question.
See, I would agree. You're too punk rock for this. But I think for the squares, of the rest of us, I think it's okay to say these things are, disgusting. I actually think we walked out, and again, that story was true in the beginning. I mean, although colorfully exaggerated. That's all I remember about this movie from a kid. We walked out. Do you know what it takes to make 13-year-old kids that don't have money, that spent what little money they have for an afternoon at the movies, decide to get out and like just go do nothing outside till it's time to get picked up? Like,
Objection. Didn't you say you snuck in somehow? Because that was an R-rated movie.
no, I think there's a strong chance that my friend's recently divorced mother bought us tickets. She was irresponsible enough to buy us tickets, but responsible enough not to see the movie herself.
So you didn't waste any money. So I'd like to strike the sympathy.
Add the sympathy. Add the sympathy, because she was a single mother, recently divorced, as I mentioned, and didn't make a lot of income. So.
We're going a little far afield. Let's focus back on the movie and not the circumstances surrounding how we saw it.
This is the field. You're in the field right now, and there's a horse in it, and we're going to waggle his dick.
I want to try the horsey.
See?
I want to try the horsey.
So I mean, disgusting, funny, those things are subjective, so I'm not really trying to attack from that point. But again, like you said, the Tom Green show was real, and that was the joke, is that we, like I said, we were laughing at the people who didn't get it, that were around him. But there's something very phony and cardboard cutty when he does it with actors around.
So, but you walked out of this film making me think that maybe you weren't that much of a Tom Green fan.
Apparently not, and
you're
seemingly no one else who went to that movie that day was either.
So,
Plus,
defense, are you saying that you have to be a Tom Green fan to enjoy this movie for it to be accessible, or can anyone see it?
No, I'm saying it certainly helps, but anyone that is a fan of the gross out humor or the crazy punk rock style of filmmaking that Mr. Green has been known for would enjoy this movie greatly. And in fact, like I do personally, would love this film.
All right. Anything else you'd like to say in defense of the film?
I rest my case.
Okay, thank you. All sides have rested their cases. The attorneys will now present their closing arguments. Mr. Bangs, you may begin.
Your Honor, distinguished members of the court, I've talked enough. That was probably the longest opening statement I've ever given. You all saw the movie. It was tedious, tiresome, gross, intentionally pointless, and insulting to its audience. And that was its mission statement. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, we often weigh intentionality very highly in this courtroom. And so I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, but Maynard, if Tom Green sought out to make a movie nobody could ever possibly like, then he succeeded, didn't he? But I say to you, no. A quick Google search of this film will reveal there are a great number of people who actually like it. Daniel Scully, Nathan Rabin, Leroy Patterson. So that means that even with the seemingly simple task of making an intentionally unlikable movie, Tom Green utterly failed. I thank you.
All right. Mr. Patterson, please present your closing statement.
I want to try the horsey. I want to try to explain the actions of this film. It would seem at times in this trial that I myself have been making a mockery of the way things are done here. Much like Tom Green set out to make a mockery of the filmmaking world when 20th Century Fox agreed to put $14 million up for this film. This concept can be seen clearly when Gord is explaining his situation to the foreman about to relocate his parents' bedroom to Pakistan. Gord, an obvious fill-in for Tom himself, is shocked that someone would pay him so much money for one of his projects. So he takes that cash to fund the biggest, dumbest, most wonderful things ever put on tape. Things that no other film would even try to do since. You see, this was a time where gross out humor, partially thanks to the Tom Green show, was at an all-time high. It's Something About Mary was tearing up screens just a year or two earlier. Now, in order to stand out in a genre that he helped define, he needed to swing newborn infants from their umbilical cord, shake the genitals of multiple large animals, and, at her request, beat his wheelchair-bound girlfriend's legs with a bamboo pole. Mr. Green was given an opportunity that many in the film world would kill for, and made the most punk rock show of defiance to the film industry that has ever been put on film. It is also, front to backwards, man, hilarious, and deserves to be celebrated as the best gross-out comedy film, not just for the film's contents, but for the anarchy that it represents. The defense rests in the middle of the road, covered in a bloody deerskin after being hit by a truck.
Thank you all. Members of the jury, Mr. Big Ben Haslar, Mr. Dylan J. Schlender, and Mr. I Can Walk Backwards as Fast as Ryan Luis Rodriguez. You have all heard the facts concerning this
You should
case.
have done the whole voice.
That is the voice.
Sure it is.
I can walk backwards as fast as, it's just the one line there. Or order in my court. You have all heard the facts concerning this case. It is now up to you to determine if this film is guilty of being a bad movie. The bailiff will escort you to the deliberation room to render your verdict.
If Tom Green can make it, there's got to be a non-zero chance I could be Mr. Bailiff Barrymore.
Mr. Bailiff Barrymore.
All right. Interesting case. I am a mark, I guess. I am not a Tom Green guy. I know nothing about him going into this movie. I knew there was a show, but I didn't know what it was about. So this was actually sort of illuminating to me as far as like the pranks and stuff go. It explains so much as to why they went in this direction. But when I was sitting there, I had no idea what was going on.
You
Ryan,
hated this movie. You despised
I hate
this
it.
movie.
Yeah, no, I've sat through some bad films for this
Yeah.
show. I've sat through the 90s Avengers. I've sat through Spawn. And never, I was able to sit through all those in one sitting. I had to take honest to goodness breaks every 20 minutes just to like get this manic noise out of my head for every so often. I have not hated a film that much this year.
Hey,
Yeah,
I
saw on
prosecuted
Letterboxd
Spawn,
that you
and I
gave
loved
it
it.
half a star, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Half a star.
That was as I was walking into it, going, "Oh god, I've seen this movie already. What if it really is that bad?" And you know what? It probably is. But this is one of the most transgressive studio comedies ever made. When I watch it, it makes me feel like I'm losing my goddamn mind, and it was actually kind of a relief because I always feel like I'm losing my mind, but like. Especially,
but now it's
this
by
was
design.
palpable. This movie hates me. It hates my family. It hates you. It hates all of us. And as somebody who also hates you and my family and all of us, I got to kind of go along with it. I got to kind of ride it on its own wavelength. It is, I don't even, what, huh? What the fuck is this?
That's
movie?
exactly
what is
that
this
was
movie?
a great impression of me watching this thing. Dylan, what do you think?
I just didn't find it as mind-blowing as you guys did. It was not enjoyable to watch, but it didn't leave me speechless or anything. It was gross and
You could watch
stupid.
it in one sitting. Could
Yeah.
the rest of you watch it in one sitting? I'm
Yeah,
just curious.
I had to
Absolutely.
because it was on Tubi. So
Yeah.
I didn't
Oh,
really have
Tubi.
much of an option.
Yeah, I think what's happened around this, it's just, it's just been overinflated. Like you hear all the exhibits that Maynard brought in, all the people who talk about this movie with such reverence, and frankly, that movie's just not there. This movie that they're talking about, like he said, and this idea is like, here's $14 million, and he makes a fuck you, but then the movie's actually profitable, and Tom
Well,
Green's
it's not
still out there.
profitable. You have to make
It's not
twice your
profitable,
budget.
it's
You have to make
break-evenable.
twice your budget.
Well, Tom Green's always saying how, like with DVD sales and stuff, that it's made its money. He's very protective and a staunch defender of this film. You think if it was supposed to be a fuck you, he would have moved on, but like just you hear those exhibits, and it's just like, man, why do people take this movie just too seriously? And then they say, aha, though you're the mark, you're stupid. You invite a dinner guest.
No, I think I don't know that that was the point. I mean, maybe that's what it was in his head, but
Maybe.
to me, it sort of explains the laziness as to why like he's improving all the time, because that's what he's used to. If he's improving like a monk in public, then I suddenly get it why he's like trusting this material so much. But yeah, for me, none of it landed as far as like he's not a good film improvisational actor.
Yeah, I mean, it has numerous deficiencies as were discussed. Yeah, I just don't have much to say about it. I think Maynard really hit the nail on the head. with all due respect to our defense counsel, though, there's a group of people out there that just really, really like this movie, and it was only a matter of time.
How big is that group?
One of them ended
It's
up on
not very big. I can guarantee you, it's not very big.
They're
It
small but
seems bigger,
loud.
but yeah, they're very loud. They are very loud.
I'm at least 300 pounds, so it's pretty big.
Them and the Snyder Bros, they get one room at the convention, that they share.
Don't bring us in with them.
I'm sorry, sir. You're not in this deliberation room. I can say whatever I like about you and your fellow Schneider Bros.
I yelled it from the outside.
Is Rob Schneider Bros?
You're not in here either.
Well, I figured if Leroy was invited, I
with
was
us
too.
always. Equal time. Yeah, okay. Do we want to lock in, or Ryan, do you have anything more pointed to add?
I'm amazed I said as much as I did.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll lock it in. This case did not make me like this movie more, although I think I gave it probably the highest marks out of all four of us. But
at 1 star?
at 3 stars. I gave it 3 stars.
Oh, okay. 3?
3,
Wow.
because
That's not
I
guilty,
cannot resist somebody hating me as much as Tom Green does. It just like, oh God, just give me more of that. I really love being hated. But
No, you should never meet Donald Trump then.
yeah. Well, tell me that one more time, huh? But yeah, this is. I mean, it's not a good. It's almost revolutionary, but it's not good. I can't sit here and tell you that it was made with remarkable intentionality. I mean, a lot of his subsequent talking up about the film, it seems a little bit kind of like a postscript. It doesn't feel like it's actually consistent with any of the attitudes that he approached the film with. But yeah, I mean, this movie is it's entirely itself for its entire runtime. And I guess I gotta throw to that. I gotta stick up for it because nobody else will. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock in not guilty.
As opposed to movies that are not themselves the entire time. They become different movies.
Yes, there are plenty of movies like that.
Yeah. They shoot for something, but don't get that tone across. Dylan, what do you think?
Guilty.
Guilty?
Yes.
Then it falls to me, and unfortunately, if Leroy Patterson wants to call me out for being a mark, that's fine. He can take that home. Nothing swayed me in this case. I don't get it. I don't understand why this was made. He's a very nice defender. I'm sure he's a lovely person. I don't get it. I really don't.
I know he sounds big. He might hurt you. Okay. Someone's got to tell the judge.
Oh yeah, let's go tell that very handsome judge.
Thank you.
No enthusiasm to that at all.
I know.
This movie sucked out my enthusiasm. It is gone. I got nothing left inside of me. I'm a husk.
Broken shell of a thing.
Okay, Mr. Foreman, given that you just said you're a broken husk that this movie took out of you, can you tell me what your verdict is?
It is my great pleasure to announce that this film is found guilty.
Oh. 14 million fucking yoink marks!
Order in the court. Please.
Japan 4.
The Shawshank! Right there.
Okay, the elephant was very disgruntled. I'm sure we all heard it. Whinny or bray. What do elephants do? I don't know.
They don't do either.
No,
the verdict
those
is
two things.
that we know of.
They trumpet?
Okay, we'll go with trumpet. So we heard the elephant trumpet earlier.
I'm not putting an elephant sound in. They're very
You don't have to. It was already here.
What?
This is a real
ad-libbing, folks. Ad-libbing. It works.
Just like Tom Green does. See, we can do it too.
All right. This is a real punk rock podcast right now, bros. All right. The verdict is so rendered, and I hereby order Tom Green to give directing another shot. But it can't be Freddy Got Fingered 2. Or is adjourned.
Freddy Got Fisted.
That's still a sequel. No sequel.
That's the 5th one.
Well, I already hit the hammer, so.
This is Mumbly Mumblerson reporting to you from outside the Reels of Justice for the most depressing argument ever made before this court. Maynard Bangs, would you care to share your asinine thoughts on the jury's verdict?
Thank you, Mumbly. I didn't think it was all that depressing. I thought it was fairly lively, and this is the conversation going on around this film. So hopefully, I was able to come at it from the angle that the Eberts didn't. To try to see that punk rock side and try to attack it still from where it wanted to be attacked. So anyway, I'm not surprised by the verdict entirely. But unfortunately for Freddy Got Fingered, had I been in the jury, it probably would have gotten off.
Thank you. Now get out of here. And here comes Leroy Patterson, I guess. Excuse me, could you give it a word on how you feel about today's verdict, as if I care?
Holy shit, this is crazy. I'm a 28-year-old man. I think I should be able to eat a chicken sandwich if I want. I'm out of here. Fuck this place.
Thanks? That's all we have from the courthouse today. Let's go back to the studio for post-trial analysis. I hate myself.
Aw, we love you, Mumbly.
Aw, poor Mumbly. He's not in on the joke.
Yeah.
I don't have
'Cause you're all
Mumbly's
so mean to
dressing
him.
it.
That's true.
Well, Mumbly's very mean to us, to be fair.
You
But
deserve
Leroy
it.
you did a great job bringing out the argument that is being passed around in favor of this film, and a lot of people are buying into that. I gotta say, I'm a little sympathetic towards it. Probably of us four, I'm the most sympathetic towards it. Unfortunately, I pulled prosecution.
Well, I appreciate that you did attack it on its own terms, Maynard. It would have been very easy to focus on all the horrible things that are manifestly on the screen, but you took the philosophical route. I appreciate that.
Well, Betty's so lovely too. I find Betty really likable, though.
Yeah, I kept waiting for something to happen to her. Not really.
Yeah, it all happened off screen.
Oh, and the kid who keeps getting wrecked every time he's on screen. Oh,
That
best.
that was okay. Yeah, and the backwards man I didn't hate as much. And sort of the ending with him taking his dad, like for a moment, I thought that was funny.
Like, this is legitimately, to me, one of my all-time favorite movies. I just think because I like weird humor. I like goofy, weird, crazy stuff, and this just hits everything that I love about just insane humor. And to see, not because usually something like this would be reserved to like one crazy scene. You got the something about Mary with the cum in the hair. Something like that where it's like, oh yeah, kind of standard movie. It goes through all the things, and you get that one, oh my god, outrageous moment. But this movie is all outrageous moments, and it tries to go through the motions just to ignore them and be like, hey, look, there's a horse on the side of the road. Yeah, I'm on my way to go live my dream and try to become an artist like Charles Schultz. He wants to go out and do this, but then immediately derails it and goes to like play with a horse's cock. It's so funny. And if every movie was like that, no, I'm out. But because all other movies are the way they are, for this one to be able to stand out in such a goofy, funny way, it's something that I quote frequently. I've made a ton of GIFs on it. I'm such a huge fan. And I'm kind of heartbroken with the way things went, but I get it.
Yeah, that's the people in the jury specifically. But I think, I
have all their
I
addresses
definitely
now,
represent
so
the
we're
wider opinion, though. I will make no mistake.
If it makes you feel better, I like the Ghost in the Shell movie, and that was universally reviled.
Your opinion is in the minority. Absolutely, it is.
Of course, yeah.
But it is out there. I know they. I think there was a petition they were trying to get around to get like the director's cut out to make I think United Artists release it, and they only got 85 signatures, and it's like, but you have 85 fans for sure,
right? But charge $100, you're good.
Yeah.
I'd buy a director's cut for $100, no problem.
But I mean, when the film deals more in the satirical or parody, that's where it's almost the strongest. Like the best scene is probably when he reunites with Betty on the rooftop and he's trying to tell her and confess his love with her, and she can't hear him over the helicopter blades. And it's like, that's very funny.
It should have been more of that, because that's like a Hollywood trope. Right. If it were like all that, like, it was all just like the tropes but turned on their heads, that would have been brilliant.
Yeah, then it would have been more of a Tom Green's Mel Brooks kind of movie. But Tom,
like we were talking about, like with the airplane scene or the airport scene in The Family Man, like do that sort of thing where they can't do it because it's just not allowed.
Well, Leroy, how do you laugh at the movie alone if you have no one to be uncomfortable next to you?
Oh, so I have such a weird, skewed view on things that I can laugh without other people, and I can imagine them next to me, and watching them angrily walk out 20 minutes in, and
that's called schizophrenia.
Oh, that's what those pills are for.
So what have you been up to? What keeps you busy when you're not doing this show or watching Freddy Got Fingered?
I'm the senior video editor for Giphy, so I make animated GIFs all day. You should go to Giphy, look up Leroy Patterson, and they've got over 12.9 billion views, so you can see those. There's a lot of fun, goofy stuff on there. I
demand more community gifts.
Okay, can do.
Yeah, actually, I will send you record because I'm always looking for some things, and they're never getting on there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, send me whatever, and I'll toss them up on there for you.
Sweet. Awesome.
I also do
Gonna be a lot of pro wrestling, by the way.
Yes. Oh yeah, happy to do it. Speaking of which, I'm also a pro wrestler. I've been doing that for 20 something years.
For
now,
real? That was a complete.
What?
Yeah, I started back in.
No
back
kidding.
in 2000.
Your Honor, I would like to switch my verdict if I could.
Yeah, that would have changed things dramatically.
Yeah, I started back in 2000. I wrestled for XPW, and that's where I trained at.
Nice.
And then bounced around the indies for a while. Last December, or about a year ago, I wrestled for AEW. I got a match on AEW Dark. That was a ton of fun.
We love AEW.
It's AEW Dark episode 122. If you want to check
Oh
out
my God, you're the tack board.
Yeah, I'm also the human tack board.
Shit! Okay.
You know the tack board?
Ever since I started following Manders, I get a lot more indie stuff coming up on my feeds.
Yeah, I do a really stupid act called the Human Tack Board. I've been on America's Got Talent, Germany, Italy, France, Romania. I just did Spain. I've done the Go Big Show, the Gong Show, a bunch of other crazy shows where I strip down to my underwear and then I throw 5,000 thumbtacks on the floor. And then I slam myself into them multiple times, and I punch and I headbutt them. It's really dumb, but people keep flying me around the world to do it, so I'm going to keep doing it.
Wow, that's awesome. No wonder you're like punk rock.
No wonder you like Freddy Got Fingered. This is all making so much more sense now.
You're a living representation of Homer Simpson when he goes Lollapalooza.
I do a lot of. I worked in the video game industry for 10 years. I own 5,000 copies of the Burger King video game Sneak King.
That's excellent.
I make goofy TV pilots, and Tim and Eric have showed my stuff at Comic-Con, so I try to keep things busy and make weird, goofy stuff, and that's why Freddy Got Fingered speaks so much to me, is because someone finally got something crazy out there.
You're like if Natty Ice did its own Most Interesting Man in the World.
I'll take it.
Or if they still made Four Locos the good way.
Oh, yeah.
I want to have Leroy back every week now. This is excellent.
Oh, I'm down. Yeah, anytime you want me, I'm down.
You want to replace me? There's a spot.
You can't get out, Ben. No one gets out.
All right, Ben, you have to wrestle Leroy to get out. That's what's going to happen.
I'm a jobber. You got a really good chance at this one. I've lost most of my matches.
He doesn't know how to win.
I think I've won 5 out of the 50. So yeah,
he knows how to make you look good. But you got some offense in, right? You didn't fight New Jack, right?
Okay. Quick funny New Jack story.
Yes.
My debut match in XPW, he was also there. I was RCG. I was the ring crew guy, which was like an RVD parody. And I would try all his moves but mess him up. So I wrestled Vic Grimes, and I would throw him the chair and then go for the spinning heel kick, but he just nails me with the chair right out of midair. And, I try the frog splash and miss, that kind of stuff. And so I wrestled. It was my debut match at the Grand Olympic Auditorium for XPW. We're backstage. Because I'm still ring crew. I still have to be tearing down the ring after I wrestle. And someone's like, "Hey, Leroy, we need to go grab this thing." And New Jack stops. And New Jack is the only man on this world that I feared. Like,
rightfully.
He is the only man who truly did not give a fuck. If you upset him slightly, chances are he might slap you in the face with a beer bottle. So I was very, very nervous about this man. But so he stops me. He goes, "Wait, you're Leroy?" And I'm like, "Oh shit!" And he's like, "You're the guy who wrestled tonight?" I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Man, you're one funny motherfucker." And I was like, "Oh my god!" I almost had a heart attack. And then he was just like, "I never put anyone over, only me and Jesus." And he's like, "Hey, Sandman, who do I put over?" And he's like, "You and Jesus." He's like, "That's right." So he's like, "But you were really funny, so keep it up." And I shit my pants because I was just real scared. And luckily, New Jack was always really cool with me. So all that fear was unfounded for the most part. But R.I.P. New Jack.
He had a history with ring crew guys too. Right?
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah,
We don't
yeah,
want
yeah.
any trouble, New Jack. And I said, "Fuck that shit."
Most people did. Abdullah
Yeah.
the Butcher stabbed me in the head with a fork and then threw me off a 6-foot stage onto the concrete.
You should put that on your tombstone. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to write a novel that you can just kinda
Yes.
open up each stone slab, have it etched in there.
Leroy is good. You can call it there. Excellent. So you're very busy. Obviously all the time. Do you have anything immediate coming up that you can talk about?
So for Giphy, I'm working on a video game. I'm teaching myself how to program and all that, and it's going really well so far. It's been a ton of fun. So I'm hoping in the next few months I'll have some stuff to show off from that.
Yeah, we'll have you back, and you can tell us a drop
Oh,
date.
for sure.
We can
That would be awesome.
People can get on Steam or something, or however they release things nowadays.
That's the hope. Also, if you could just like tweet Tony Khan and be like, "Hey, bring back Leroy Patterson and Howdy Price so that they can wrestle again," that would be great. While you can tweet, depending on when
book
this
Dan
goes out.
Barry.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Hey, we'll try to we'll try to get you a match with Manders. Maybe you could get the H2O championship off.
Oh, I would love that. That
Yeah.
would make my
We
day.
could at least get you a match here on the show, maybe.
Sounds good to me.
We do. We
Book
love
it.
Manders.
Book the match.
Book it. So we've totally we really entertained probably at least 20% of our listeners there, though, but none of them are Ryan.
Hey, Jimmy B is happy.
Ryan's line is flat. It's so sad.
Yeah. Well, Ryan doesn't like Ryan sees pro wrestling. I think something akin to Freddy Got Fingered. But
You and Jesus thing. I mean, that's funny.
wake up, Ryan.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Good morning.
So Leroy, we always ask for recommendations from our guests for movies that you think people should see. So what is a movie you think people should see?
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna go and it's kind of easy to find now. I'm sure it's on YouTube, but it's also, I just found out it's in the game called High on Life that Justin Roiland did. But it's a movie called Demon Wind.
Mm-hmm.
It is an absurd, really weird horror movie from the 80s that features a magician that's also a martial artist fighting demons, and it's got a woman who turns into a baby doll and then blows up, and one of the most bonkers weird endings to a horror movie I've ever seen. It starts off like a typical friends in a cabin kind of thing, and it just goes off the rails almost immediately. So I highly recommend Demon Wind. You can watch the entire movie in the game High on Life.
Yeah, they watch it on for Ryan's and Ben's knowledge too, less so Dylan. They watch it in like a Mystery Science Theater style. So the little characters sit on the bottom of the screen and you can watch the entire movie. I don't know if they make jokes through it. Like
it's the guys from Red Letter Media, their YouTube channel, Mr. Plinkett stuff. They commentate over the entire movie and it's great.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so it's basically a riffed movie in a video game,
which is absurd, but I love it. And for a movie that I've loved since the 80s, to have that available to an audience that would not normally ever check it out is great. And if I can help promote it here too, I'm all for it.
Exactly. It's not just when Big Ben goes to Taco Bell. Demon Wind. Check it out.
It's Del Taco.
I was gonna say it's Del Taco.
Don't you dare put Del Taco. Don't you drag the good name of Del Taco through the mud. Not again, sir.
He does it all the time.
I have 5 more.
So Maynard, you were the prosecutor. What did you recommend?
So my recommendation this week is another film from this bygone era featuring the then Hollywood power couple of Drew Barrymore and Tom Green, and that's 2000's Charlie's Angels.
Woo.
A slick, high-octane continuation of the late 70s TV show of the same name. It stars Lucy Liu, Cameron Diaz, and the aforementioned Barrymore as 3 private investigators who use their considerable talents, shall we say, and cutting-edge tech to recover stolen software. This movie does thrills and comedy at the same time very well, and some of the tongue-in-cheek action sequences seem like they were plucked right out of the latest Fast and Furious entry. And honestly, you just know that any movie with Bill Murray, Tim Curry, and Sam Rockwell is going to be a blast. Charlie's Angels is currently streaming on Hulu, but only if you have that pesky Stars subscription crap. What the fuck's up with that stuff?
Ugh.
I know.
It's also got Crispin Glover, who, if you want to see some crazy movies, Crispin Glover has made a lot of insane films.
Yeah. I struggle to think of all of them right now, but
All I know is Back to the Future in this. Yeah,
I'm talking about the stuff he directed. There are Crispin Glover directed short films out there. I saw him at a festival, and I still don't know exactly what I saw, but it was great.
Crispin Glover joints, I believe they would be referred to.
They're not called that.
I think they are.
I know you think that. Schlenzo, what's your recommendation? Or your trecommendation?
It is not a recommendation. It is just a normal recommendation. And it's not even Richard Donner's best movie, but it is a Richard Donner movie. I'm finally recommending 1985's Lady Hawk. Movie holds a very special place in my heart because my grandma loved it so well, and I loved watching it with her. And what it's about is Matthew Broderick plays a thief who escapes this dungeon, and he meets up with this Black Knight played by Rutger Hauer, who has a hawk that's also a lady. And then at night, Rutger Hauer's gone, but then Michelle Pfeiffer's there. It's like, what's going on? Turns out they're cursed from a cardinal, because, Catholics can do that. They can put magical curses on you. Anyway, when you're ordained. Anyway, it's a really cool fantasy movie that is a lot of fun, and one of my favorite things about it, the soundtrack done by none other than the man himself, Alan Parsons. What more do you need to know?
This explains why you like it now.
No, I liked it even before I was an Alan Parsons fan. Yeah,
I believe it was some type of hovercraft.
But no, it wasn't the project. It was just him and Andrew Powell, who would do the orchestrations for the Alan Parsons project. So it was Alan Parsons project. It was like the Alan Parsons plan. They didn't start the project.
Yes, yeah.
You need Eric Wolfson for it to be the project.
Ryan, didn't you see this movie recently?
Not recently, but I have seen it. Yeah.
No, and Ryan and I have talked about it on the show before. We talk about it off mic a lot. So if someone wants to come on to prosecute or defend it, let me know.
Wait, you guys are talking when I'm not there?
No, you are there. You're just not
all the time, Rob.
Do not like it.
Yeah,
Deal with it.
I'm frequently sending Ryan messages about his hit podcast, One Track Mind, to let him know how much I enjoy certain episodes, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Well, I hope we find out who.
I don't think you do. I think it's
no. I think it's left up
like
to the audience member to decide.
Yeah, it's like waiting for Godot, just never shows up.
Ryan, what's your recommendation?
My recommendation this week concerns a film that just released in theaters days before this recording, and that is Jimmy Cameron's Avatar: The Way of Water. I know the original film is quite controversial given its stellar visuals and crummy screenplay, but Cameron has completely outdone himself here. It's one of the most dazzling-looking films I have ever seen, and while the dialogue is still predictably shaky, it packs an emotional punch that almost justifies its 192-minute runtime. If you're into spectacle and feeling exhausted, run, don't walk, to your nearest marketplace and grab a ticket. And if you don't see it in IMAX 3D, you're simply not doing it right. Ryan, out!
Oh, shouldn't they swim to there because it's the way of water?
Oh, go to hell.
Okay, well, anyway, I think Avatar: Way of Water looks pretty good. I think it's really going to be a very punk rock movie. The way Jimmy Cameron's putting his middle finger up to studios and being like, "Yo, I blew $237 million on this piece of shit. Fuck you guys! I've never seen that money again."
It's 350 million, Rob.
350
Please
million.
get the number
super
right.
punk rock. So punk rock. Leroy,
they could have made 100 Donnie Darkos.
I'm gonna watch it on my phone later.
Perfect. It's a 3D phone, right? It's one of those fold-out phones. The ones that always break. Yeah, those are sweet. I like them. Big Ben, send us on home.
I'm going to recommend one of my favorite man-child movies and say if you haven't seen it, you should. It's Adam Sandler and Happy Gilmore. Now, I can't say whether or not this is one of the greatest sports movies of all time. That's for historians to discover. But it's certainly a film that plays to all of Sandler's strengths as a young comedian with a tight script that lets him be crude, angry, and sweet all in one. The supporting cast and cameo appearances are all in, and the coup de grace being the fight with Bob Barker. And in my opinion, it still holds up. I know every joke by now, and even this late in the 21st century, I'm still laughing. If all you know is his newer stuff and you wonder why the dude has a career, well, check this one out and you'll get it. It's rentable at most of the normal places.
You see, Leroy, this is why Tom Green didn't get over, because this is Sandler country for some reason.
Apparently, jeez.
That's the yin and yang of comedy in the 2000s, isn't it?
Maybe if he talked in a goofy voice like "Tally hoo hoo,
So long, sucker.
happy to be
Them backwards mean,
I hit
them
the
backwards mean.
face with a shovel."
Yeah, exactly. But Ben, I like
I
your
didn't
idea.
say Little Nicky. I said specifically Happy Gilmore.
I don't know. Little Nicky's pretty good.
I like
That's
your
another episode.
idea though of sports movie. So I'm thinking Happy Gilmore versus Rocky.
Yeah, or Remember the Titans. Yeah, something like that.
It'd have to be something very serious, I think.
Oh
And
my God.
that would be very fictional. Go in your hole. You want to live in your hole? But no,
white ass ball.
See, you all get the lines. They're hilarious. Still.
Yes. Well, it is a memorable film. It's probably his. Well, okay, I can't say it's his best. Billy Madison is a little better.
Yeah,
too.
Billy Madison's better.
The
but I
Wedding
like
Singer. What's
I was
wrong
gonna
with
say,
you
The Wedding
guys?
Singer probably is his
God,
strongest
I love
comedy.
Wedding Singer. Oh my God,
Thank
you're
you.
talking my language.
That's
God,
the
how do
strongest
I know
comedy.
that? It's you guys should know.
No, I
this
mean
stuff.
I've been long on
Come
the Wedding
on.
Singer bandwagon for sure.
Okay.
But who's gonna say?
I-
Who's gonna,
Greatest romantic comedy of all time. God damn it.
And
even
it has
50 First
Drew
Dates isn't
Barrymore.
bad. We'll have to do a whole Sandler-thon sometime. But when Sandler's off, man, he's off.
Hey, you know, I like that Halloween movie he did a couple years ago.
Oh,
Remember we
you
watched
would.
that one?
Mhm.
Creepy
Yeah.
Halloween or something.
good one.
You would.
No, that one. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, this guy had
Uncut
kids.
Gems was good though.
That was a good
But he
one.
didn't win the Oscar, so that's why he
He
went.
didn't
back
even
to
get
making terrible
nominated.
movies. Yeah,
He
quite the
was
stuff.
nominated.
Oh.
No, he
You
wasn't
have to hear for the
nominated.
Golden Globe.
No, he
Golden
wasn't.
Globes.
Yeah, no, he
Oh,
should have.
Golden Globes barely count. Take that, Golden Globes. And with that, we are all at a show, but we want to thank our guest, Leroy Patterson, for joining us. Thank you, Leroy.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We're going to see you not only on AEW Dark soon it'll be Elevation, boom, all the way up to Dynamite. You're going to skip Rampage.
Oh,
You're better than that. You don't got time for Rampage, and it's filler crap.
Very busy
Uh,
schedule.
Yeah, exactly. And we hope you'll join us again sometime in the future.
Anytime, just invite me.
We will do that. And we hope everyone else will join us again as well, as the reels of justice keep turning.
Count it.
Hatred.
Please follow us on Twitter at Reels of Justice, Instagram Reels of Justice, and Facebook.com/Reels of Justice.